Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel, Bit by Knit. I'm Jenny. I am a knitter and crocheter here on the west coast of Canada with my family, and I wanted to start a YouTube channel to be able to share all my knits and my crochets and any other things that I might get up to over the years. And yeah, so today is episode 1. Welcome here. I hope you really enjoy being a part of this with me. I'm really super excited to be able to start this journey with everybody and yeah, see what kinds of exciting things we get up to and the makes that we make. So in today's video or episode, I just kind of wanted to give a little overview of myself because it's my first episode. So I thought I'd just let everybody know that I've been knitting since about 2018. I think this is kind of a guess because I was trying to search my history for like things that I've purchased and stuff, and it took me to 2018, but I think I started a little bit before that. My sister-in-law was actually the one who taught me how to do my knit stitches. She was the first one that taught me how to cast on and start knitting, but she only knew the knit stitch, so everything else I've learned has been through YouTube videos, pretty much. Yes, I think all that I've learned otherwise are YouTube videos. And then my husband encouraged me to look into crochet, so that's how I kind of got on that road as well. I wasn't actually going to do crochet. I thought that knitting was just kind of the end to my fiber journeys, but I took his advice and I'm pleasantly surprised that, well, not pleasantly surprised. I'm very happy to say that I enjoy crocheting as well. So that is a little overview for myself and my history. Last in the year, like the winter of 2022 to 2023, I did my very first sweater knitting project because up until then I had done like scarves or little items, and then I ended up buying the Knit Crate subscription, which I don't know if anybody knows what that is, but it used to be a monthly subscription that you would buy, and they would send you, depending on which box you bought, but they would either send you a sock set or like a generalized knitting set. And anyways, I did the generalized one, and so once a month I would get a package of 2 skeins of yarn plus a pattern, or like it came with a booklet of a few patterns, and that was kind of I was kind of just stuck on that, I guess, for a few years because it would accumulate so fast. I couldn't keep up with how much I was getting to, maybe I didn't like the pattern and I wanted to wait for the next subscription month to come out, and anyways, whatever, my stash was getting a little bit out of control. So I never went beyond that until after, unfortunately, they went bankrupt 2 years ago, I believe. And so I obviously stopped getting those Knit Crate subscription boxes, and I decided that that was actually a good turning point for stopping with, like, I love surprises and I love just getting things in the mail. So it was really hard for me to not jump onto another monthly subscription, but I wanted to just focus on purchasing yarn that had the purpose of making something with it that I already knew what I wanted to make. So my stash has gone down substantially because of that, which is a good thing. And now a lot of what I have in terms of yarn stash is just what I'm planning on using. I have the patterns in plan, or I've purchased them already, or I've got some books of knitting patterns that I want to do. So I bought yarn specifically for those things, and I try not to go beyond that. Of course, you know, everybody has their hiccups in life. Their hiccups in life where they, of course, buy other yarn for non-reasons, which I'm guilty of. Yes. Okay, anyways. So there's a little overview of myself, and I won't talk about those again in the future, so you don't have to worry about hearing that every time. But anyways, on to the focus of our first podcast is to talk about my knitting. So we're going to start with finished objects because that one's actually pretty simple. Like, where do I start? I've had 6 years of finished objects. No, I'm not going to go through everything, obviously, that I've done in the past, all my knitting career. But I thought I would share with you guys the last thing that I finished because it probably came off my needles 3 weeks ago. I've been doing kind of larger-ish projects since then, so I haven't finished anything, and my time is kind of limited. So yeah, so it takes me a while to finish an object, but the ones that I did finish, I'm going to grab. So these are my hazel socks, shorty socks. that I got a pattern for, which I will link all of these down in my description box so that you can easily find them through Ravelry. Most likely it's where most of them are. Anyways, the hazel shorty socks is what I did, and I didn't do the pattern. Like the picture of the pattern, which I will put up here, is much different than what I did. I did like more of a, I think I did 3 knits and 1 purl pattern on the top and then just normal knits on the bottom. But what I really liked about this pattern was this heel flap. This is like the main reason that I bought the pattern was because I love shorty socks. I don't wear long socks. Not since I was a child. I prefer the shorty socks. But any shorty sock that I've knit in the past has the heel always like falls off of my foot when I take my shoe off, and that's really annoying. So I saw this and it has like a little lip pattern. It's like a fold over edge, and I really liked that detail. So I bought the socks specifically for that. And I was going to do the whole pattern on the front, but I just didn't want to be that finicky with the sock. I'm very much a completionist. I don't like the process of knitting like I do, but I don't want to have to take time on a sock. So I did a very minimal pattern, and actually I am planning on making more socks with this heel tab, but I'm just going to do a vanilla sock because I'm so impatient when it comes to socks, especially to like fiddle with a pattern. So this is like the only sock that I've ever made that has any sort of pattern on it, other than like color changes, stripes or something like that, but it's the only one that has any texture or detail to it. And I'm super proud of it. It did take me a while because I just paused on making it because it takes a little bit of time to do this heel tab, and then the actual heel flap was a little different than I've ever done, and it wasn't hard. It was totally fine, but I just dreaded having to do it again because I just wanted to knit straight stockinette and get the sock done and wear them, and I was just in a hang up of still having to work on them. So definitely like second sock syndrome was a thing. I did finish them. I do love them. I've worn them several times and they stay in place when I take my shoes off, so that's why I want to make more with that heel flap. I don't know if I'll continue doing the same heel flap. I meant heel tab. I don't know if I'll still do the same heel flap that I did here. It's pretty bulky, and like I don't have a very deep heel or whatever. I can get away with just a normal German short row heel, so I'll probably do that on my future socks, and just I bought this pattern for the tab. So that's the only finished object that I have to share, and we'll kind of start the marker there. So after the other things I'm going to show today, when they're finished, then they'll be my going forward finished objects. Okay, that hopefully makes sense. On to my works in progress now. I actually have 3 works in progress on the go. And I'll start with the smallest one, and I will go up to the biggest one, which is, in my opinion, the most exciting one. So the first work in progress that I'm going to share is my yarn cozy that I'm making. So this is it's yarn in a yarn cozy. It's a different yarn cozy than the one I'm making though, so that's something, I guess. And this is my yarn cozy. It's actually the same yarn that I made the socks with. It's oh, I didn't even share that information. That's terrible. You know what? You're going to hear it anyways because this is the exact same yarn. So the information for this is the same as the information on this one. This is yarn from Bramble Ridge hand dyed yarn, and it is a fingering weight yarn. It's what is the breakdown of it? It's 85/15. Yeah, it's 85/15. It's superwash merino and nylon, and it is a fingering weight yarn. I think I already said that. In the colorway Duck, and I love this colorway. It is just beautiful. I think she actually says that it's her best-selling yarn color, which is not surprising because it's gorgeous. She actually made, she under-dyed one batch and she over-dyed another batch, and she called, I can't remember the name of the under-dyed one, but the over-dyed one was something like Mighty Duck or Big Duck or something. It was hilarious. Anyways, this is just the normal one. So this is, yes, from Bramble Ridge hand-dyed yarn. You can find her on Etsy. I will also link her information up here, or down in the description, I should say. And yes, so anyways, I am making a yarn cozy, and this is the yarn cozy from it's Melina Frenken's pattern. I don't know if it's on Ravelry, but I'll try to find it and put a picture up here, put it linked down below. And it was a free pattern that I got online because I just didn't know if I liked the yarn cozies enough to purchase a pattern, so I was happy to find a couple of free patterns. This one too is a free pattern. And yeah, I do actually like them, so I'm happy that I have them. I've been making, I think I have like 6 of them already, and I keep making them because all of my yarn balls that aren't in cozies, I'm really sad about that as I'm working on them, because it really helps to hold in the ball of yarn as you're working on it, and it makes it less likely to like tangle with the outer thread or the outer part of the yarn, because I am a center pull knitter and crocheter, so I do appreciate having it in a yarn cozy. So that is my first project. I'm using ChiaoGoo needles. What size is this? They're 3.5 millimeter needles. ChiaoGoo. Yes, I love my ChiaoGoo sets. I did have like the knit picks. Actually, I have them in another project. I use also the knit picks circulars as well, but I found, because I have the wooden set, I just found that the tips were wearing down as I used them, and so I wanted to get metal tips, and I splurged and got ChiaoGoo, and I'm so happy I did because they're amazing. Okay, next project. I am working on the Oslo hat by Petite Knit. I've got my 2 yarn balls here are not in yarn cozies, and so that makes it very difficult, but I'm using 2 different balls of yarn. I've got, one is a fingering weight and one is mohair. I've never worked with mohair before. This is my first time. I've done Surrey before. This is my first time with mohair, and I mean, it doesn't bother my hands, so I'm hoping it won't bother my head. We'll see. But I love the color. I'll tell you the yarn names in just a minute, but I just have to show off the color that it is creating here. It's just beautiful. It's so muted, like the variegated or this yarn here is so much more colorful, and then when it knits up with the mohair, it just makes such a beautiful, warm, muted color. I love it. So I've got my little details here. Okay, so let me show you this here quick. I have a little project book. I got this from Twice Sheared Sheep. I'm actually going to talk about it later too, but this is from my spring box that I got from Twice Sheared Sheep, which I will, again, like I said, I'll talk about it in a minute more. But it has like, you get your pages here where you can get your pattern details and everything, and the yarn details, and it's a really cool little book. It has a little pocket in it to put your, if you made a swatch, you could put it in that pocket. Spoiler alert, I did not make any swatches. It's terrible, I should have, but I am so lazy when it comes to that kind of thing. Okay, a project coming up was supposed to be a different project, which I swatched for, proud of myself, but then it didn't work out, so I decided to change it to a different project, and I was too excited and like done with swatching, because I already did it for this other project, that I just dove into it, and it's fine. Anyways, we'll talk about that later. The Oslo hat. Okay, so the colorful yarn here, this one is Valhalla Farm yarn, and it is the Tequila Sunrise colorway, and it's the Farmhouse Sock yarn. And then the mohair is Autumn and Indigo yarn, and it's 70% kid mohair and 30% silk, and it's the colorway Umber. Yes, so beautiful combination, making this lovely hat. And I'm getting pretty far. I actually haven't measured it for a while, but I'm pretty sure, like with the Oswald hat, you do a brim, like you knit until however many inches, and then you fold it over and you connect it to your cast on edge, and then you do a little bit of purling, knitting some more, I can't remember, anyways, and then you turn it, and so it's supposed to flip again. You're supposed to have kind of like a triple edge brim, I believe. So I might be actually getting pretty close to decreasing, because that would be flipped up there, and then I probably want a little bit more length. I have a ton of yarn still, so I don't really want it to end yet unless I make 2 of them or something, but that seems a bit excessive. Yeah, before my decreases. And I'm not a huge slouchy hat person, but maybe this would be good as a slouchy hat. Maybe I'll get on board with that. I just never thought that they suited my head, but I don't know. We'll see. So that is that. Oh, and these are my Knit Picks needles. So this is the ones I was talking about. And the only reason, this is going to sound really bad, the only reason I'm using these needles is because my chow goos were all being used up on other projects and I needed to cast this on, so I didn't want to wait. So I pulled these out. And like I said, they're totally fine. It's just that sometimes like the needles just wear down a little bit, and I don't think it's this set. A different one though has like a bit of a chip in it. And so you feel it every time your yarn goes over it, and it's just a little bit annoying, and I don't want it to get worse. But like they attach so nice. I've never had an issue with them getting loose at the attachment site. They're not as flexible here, so it is a little bit more finicky working around in the magic loop, but it's still fine. I started on them. It's not a big deal. Yeah, so that's that. Okay, my last working project is in this Crazy Yarn Lady bag, which I'm pretty sure, okay, this is going to be terrible that I forget this, but I'm pretty sure I got this with my twice sheared sheep order from the spring box. I'm pretty sure. It has a cool little magnetic clasp, which I really like. And in it is my Cumulus blouse O-neck from Petite Knit. Let's see if I can get this out. Oh yeah, it's off the needles, isn't it? Yes, it is off the needles. That's right. I totally forgot. I'm like looking for the needles. Where did I put them? They're not in there. I finished the, oops, that's upside down. I finished the body of it. So I've got the whole, I didn't do the neck I-cord yet, and obviously the sleeves aren't done yet, but the body is all done. It's knit to the length that it was requested, or that was suggested in my size. So what I ended up doing, so the pattern calls for, I believe it's 2 strands of mohair held together. And I didn't have mohair, and I had this beautiful Surrey alpaca. This is again Bramble Ridges yarn, Surrey alpaca. And it is in the colorway Fairy Glen, and I love it. It's absolutely amazing. It's so soft and so squishy, and it's delightful. And the yarn that, like this yarn I was going to use for another project, but as I was doing the swatch for that project, oh, the swatch was fine. The swatch was fine, but then when I was trying to knit up that design, I was just finding that with the way that the instructions were, it was just like work the pattern, or like work the next row in pattern, or like as you see your stitches, and I couldn't see my stitches because it's such a dark yarn. So I was like, I was getting frustrated anyways. I'm like, that's it, I'm not using this yarn for this pattern. I'm gonna have to find a different pattern for this yarn because it's so beautiful, and I really, really wanted a green sweater. And so I found the Petite Knit Cumulus blouse O-neck, and I'm like, that's perfect. So anyways, that's why I switched to this one, and I had a purpose for this. Oh yes, so anyways, I'm going somewhere with this, I promise. In the previous one, it was supposed to be hold 3 strands together, so I bought enough for that sweater, and this sweater it's hold 2 together, but I was like, well, I already had a big chunk of it unwound from the first project that I didn't want to have to separate into 2 strands, and it was just already in the 3 strands, and so I'm like, why don't I just try making this with the 3 strands of Surrey and then see if that works fine. I did not do a gauge swatch, as I admitted already earlier, but it seemed to turn out okay, because what I did was I knew that it was going to be thicker and my stitches were probably going to be wider. So I decided, I went up a needle size also from the pattern. I went up to a, what am I using? Cumulus blouse, I'm using 5mm. Yeah, I'm using 5mm needles, and I think the pattern called for maybe 4.5. And so I was already going up a needle size to accommodate the 3 strands of Surrey, and so I went down a size in the pattern, which I know it's not recommended to do that, but I've had fine success with the other 2 sweaters that I've made in the past doing that. I'm sure I will learn my lesson one day when it's like completely not gonna fit me, but it works. It seemed to be okay. So I went down to an extra small, which is the smallest size that she has on that pattern, up a needle size, and this is the result. So it's a little bit, I don't know, I think it hits kind of right at my hip bone. I might take a picture of me wearing it and post it right here as well, just so you guys can see where it hits. So it's a little bit shorter than I'm used to for sweaters, but that's okay, because in her pictures on her website, I think she does like a little side tuck into her pants. It looks really cute, and that's probably how I'll wear it too if I feel like it's just a little bit too short. And I already did the bound off I-cord on the edging, which I'm super impressed with because I've never done an I-cord before. So this is my first time doing an I-cord. and I think it turned out really, really nice. And I'll try to do, I don't even know, it's going to be so hard to see because of the Surrey. If you can't see it there, I'll take a picture of it and put a picture up too because I'm happy with it. Okay, one thing that I wouldn't do again though, you might have seen a bit of pink thread here. I put in a lifeline before doing the I-cord because I did not want to have to, like I was assuming I would make a big mess up of the I-cord and have to rip it back and start over again, and I didn't want to have to figure out where my I-cord ended and my last row started, even though I did have a stitch marker in there. But anyways, I put in a lifeline. Next time I will not put the lifeline in right before the I-cord. I will do a lifeline at least one more row of just the knit stitches before the I-cord because it's already annoying if you've ever worked with a, I just said the word and I've already just lost it. If you've ever worked with like saving your spot, why can't I think of that word? A lifeline. There we go. If you've ever worked with a lifeline before, you probably know that the row that you knit after the lifeline can be a little bit annoying because you're working around that lifeline now. And I didn't even think of that. I just put the lifeline in and started the I-cord. So I had to work my I-cord around the lifeline. And let me tell you, for the first time of doing an I-cord, I'm doing 3 strands of Surrey in an I-cord where you have to do like, if you've ever done an I-cord, you like knit a certain amount of stitches and then you knit 2 through the back loop and then you put the stitches that you just knit back on your left needle and it's just a process over and over again. But in the Cumulus blouse, she has you doing it, you do a couple times like that and then you knit 3 stitches and then you knit 3 through the back loop. So essentially I was knitting 9 threads of yarn through the back loop every 3rd or 4th sequence in the sequence. Yeah. And dealing with a silly lifeline. So that was annoying. But it still turned out fine. It was fine. And I'm happy with it. And I think it looks amazing. And and the other thing I wanted to mention about this too is I bought 6 balls of the yarn and I can actually put a picture of it here as well because I took a picture of all 6 of them together after I wound them. 2 of them were substantially, like obviously darker than the other 4. So, and she did warn me that she couldn't do it all in one batch. So what I did was I put like one dark one with 2 and the other dark one with the other 2. So it would like look balanced. And I finished off one of the set of 3 near the bottom. I was pretty close to finishing. I think I had, I don't know, a couple of inches left to go before I needed to do the I-cord. And I can't even tell. I was a little worried. I should have done helical knitting. I've done helical knitting before and it's not a problem. I just didn't want to have to juggle 6 balls of yarn to helical knit. So I'm like, you know what? YOLO, I'm just going to go for it and wing it and hopefully it won't be a big gross line. And if it is, then that's on me and I'll have to rip it back if I'm that desperate. But anyways, I don't even see one. I think it turned out fine. It was like probably about there when I switched the yarns and you can't even tell because it's already kind of patchy, not patchy, but like you can tell in some spots the lining is a little bit darker. So kind of does do a natural shift of color and I love that. I think it's gorgeous. And so I think the next thing I'm going to do is I will do the I-cord on the neck before I do the sleeves just to make sure because the I-cord takes so much yarn. I had no idea. It takes so much yarn. I've never done one before, so I didn't know that. So I want to make sure that I have enough yarn for the collar and then maybe I'll weigh it. I don't know, because it's not as many stitches at least for the sleeve to do an I-cord. So maybe I can weigh it and just make sure that I don't go too far beyond, like I don't go to the halfway mark before I start the I-cord bind off on one sleeve so that I have enough for the other sleeve so I don't have to rip it back. But I might even do a lifeline just in case I didn't gauge that properly and I do have to rip the sleeve back a little bit because I want it to be long sleeved. It's such a heavy yarn that it doesn't make sense to do short sleeves because I will not wear it in the summer. It's definitely a winter sweater. Okay. That is that. Whew. And if you're curious, I'll pull these out. They're all in yarn cozies. I've got the 3 balls right here. So like these 2 are lighter and that one is darker. I should have put the 2 same in the pink, but I didn't. It doesn't really matter. So yes. And this is actually what the cozy will look like when it's all done too, because that's the same pattern. All right. Now, I'm making a big mess here, but that's okay. So now I want to talk about my acquisitions and the things that I bought and what the plans are for them. Yes, there we go. The plans that I have for the things that I bought. So the other day I put in, well, about a week ago, I put in an order from Knit Picks I needed some blocking mats. I didn't have any, which is kind of silly because I've made enough sweaters that I should have had them by now. So I bought some blocking mats. I splurged and I did it. Like lately, whenever I block my sweaters, I've never blocked like my scarves or my shawls or my mittens or my hats or anything like that. Except for one hat. I did block one hat because it was color work. But otherwise, I don't usually do that. And so when I did make my first few sweaters, I just blocked them on beach towels. And it works fine, but if I ever want to actually pin my sweaters to block it properly, I actually need blocking mats. So I did splurge and I bought some blocking mats. So that was an exciting thing to get in the mail. And I will definitely use it for my Cumulus blouse. And maybe the toque, we'll see. Probably not. So that was in the order from Knit Picks, but I also got, I've needed these for a while. They're like the, they are a darning needle, you know, for sewing in your ends, weaving in your ends, but it has the little, it's curved. There we go. A curved darning needle, because I have the straight edged ones, but sometimes you just need that curve. So I bought that. And then the main reason that I bought from Knit Picks was because I wanted yarn to make a turn on yourself pot holder. Yes, Beverly Qualium. Okay, I'm really sorry, Beverly. I'm butchering your name. I know you don't watch this, but I will put the link down below, a picture here. But I also brought one that I've made because I found. Do you guys ever watch The Crazy Sock Lady? Because I do. And she was making these during Christmas time, I believe. And I just loved the pattern. I saw her making them. They're crochet. This was a little bit, it's not square. That's okay though. It's a little bit rectangle. But they're amazing. I wasn't too sure. I made some for myself because my pot holders were so disgusting. I had them since I got married, and that was 18 years ago. So I've had them for a very long time and I needed new ones. And so I loved the idea of crocheting my own ones. So I thought I would try the pattern, and I really love it. And so I thought it'd be a great idea to make some for my family for Christmas, like my, my sister-in-laws and stuff like that. So I bought this yarn from Knit Picks, which is their Dishy. And I got it in the colorway Ash. I believe that's the colorway. And it's just the worsted weight, 190 yards for 100 grams of Dishy. Yes. So 4 of these, because I think I could make at least 2 out of one ball, and then whatever scraps I have left over, I will keep and combine for my own, because I don't mind if they're a little mismatched in color or whatever. But for my family, I will try to make them as pristine as possible. So anyways, that is the Dishies from Knit Picks. Yeah, I'm really happy about that. I'm super excited. I'm going to start these hopefully this week. Get them going, even though I don't need them till December. It's kind of nice to get them on and out of the way so that it's not forgotten or get to it too late and they're not done in time. So that was that. And then I did mention earlier, which I'm going to talk about a bit more now, that so at Christmas time, my Christmas present from my husband to myself, which I picked out, not him, because he's like, I don't know what you want, which is fair. I wanted to get the Twice Sheared Sheep. They do like a seasonal box, I guess you would call it. And so it's like 3 boxes that you get through the year. You get a spring, you get a summer, you get a fall. And then if you want to, I believe they also send you a coupon for their Advent box, which is the winter box that's not part of this. And I don't have that ordered at the moment. I don't know if I will. I might. It's really cute. So anyways, in the spring box that I got, came with a skein of yarn, which I've already caked up, and I believe it's in a yarn cozy. Yes, it is. Oh, hey, it's in the duck one. There you go. It's in my duck yarn cozy. And anyways, it's this beautiful, sparkly purple, green, and white yarn. I think it's super cute. And it's a sock yarn. It's the Sheepshire hand-dyed yarn, and it's the Pixie sock, so it's 75 superwash merino, 20% nylon, 5% stanella, and it is in the colorway Crocus. So I'm going to make socks out of these, and it's going to be those, it's going to be with the Hazel Shorty socks pattern, but just for the tab, just for the heel tab, and otherwise it's going to be the vanilla sock. It's going to be the vanilla sock, which is just the, if you ever watch, well, again, the Crazy Sock Lady, she does a vanilla sock pattern, and so that's just what I'm using. I think I modified the stitches though, because I like a tighter sock, like I like negative ease on my sock, and so I definitely go, I think I do 56 stitches. Anyways, that's what it's going to be. So that's from Twice Sheared Sheep, and I should be getting my next box next month, which is super exciting because I just love those kinds of things. It was my treat to myself, just kind of going back to the start of the video when I was saying that I love getting like mail and I love surprises and everything. Just having a box of yarn come in your mailbox is so amazing. And anyways, this is in, which one? Oh, this bag that it's in is from Bramble Ridge. What was it, 2 years ago? I feel like, yeah, this was the 2 years ago one. I did her advent calendar. I did her advent calendar 2 years ago, so in 2022. And she had, that year, she did daily mini skeins. Little mini, mini skeins. And that's actually where I made my first sweater. My first sweater is made from her advent calendar, which I might actually end up taking apart because I never wear it and I want it to use it for something else. Anyways, that's way beyond the point. This little bag is from her 2022 advent calendar yarn box thing. Yeah. All right, you guys, we made it to the end of the episode. I think I'm going to end it here. I feel like I didn't forget anything. Hopefully I didn't. If I did, it'll be the next episode. Yeah, so thank you so much for joining me here. I hope you enjoyed this content. Please let me know if there's anything that you feel like I didn't talk about. I will answer any questions in the comments section or my next video. And with that, I will see you next time.